Sudi adjusted her scarf as the early morning wind of Himachal cut through her sleeves. The camp had just begun, nestled deep in the hills, where pine trees whispered secrets and rivers carried the voice of silence. She was 24, volunteering for a wildlife research camp before her permanent job in Pune started. Not exactly a people person, she preferred listening over speaking. Until she saw him. He wasn't extraordinary by conventional standards. But to her, he stood out like fireflies in fog. Messy hair, a camera slung across his chest, and laughter that bubbled out of him like spring water. He moved differently, light on his feet, always smiling, always involved. Sudi watched him from afar during the icebreaker circle on the first evening. He was talking animatedly with others, unaware of her gaze. Name? Sudi Mishra, she answered quickly, startled. Ji Yang. That was the name he gave when his turn came. She repeated it silently to herself.
Ji Yang, Ji Yang.
She never spoke to him. Not once. She told herself it wasn't the right time, or he wouldn't notice her, or that it didn't matter. But at night, back in her tent, she found herself writing about him in her journal. He laughs like he's never been hurt. I hope he never finds out what heartbreak tastes like. 20 days passed. Sudi returned to her structured life, planning research outlines for her next assignment. She joined another camp, this time in Uttarakhand. A collaborative program between two NGOs, she was leading a biodiversity survey team. New faces, new terrain, until she saw him again, standing at the jeep station, looking confused, camera around his neck. He looked up, and their eyes met. Sudi, right?
You remember?
You were in the Himachal camp. I noticed you were always scribbling in that brown journal.
I didn't think anyone noticed.
I notice a lot. I'm Ji Yang, in case you forgot.
I didn't.
Work brought them closer. His unit needed ecological notes from her team. They started spending hours together, on field trails, during bonfire discussions, and in quiet corners of the dining area. You like silence a lot, don't you?
Only with the right people.
So I made the cut?
You did.
He told her about his dreams of becoming a nature documentarian. She told him about her PhD dreams in forest corridors. One evening, he caught her humming softly under her breath while working on data sheets. That's beautiful. What song is that?
It's something I made up.
He didn't say much, but recorded it secretly later when she hummed again. He never told her he played that recording often, even after the camp ended. I got selected for an environment fellowship in Malaysia.
Oh, that's amazing.
And you?
I'm going to Assam for 2 years.
They didn't talk about them. About what they were or could be. On the final day, when bags were packed and goodbyes were flying in every direction, Ji Yang walked her to the jeep. This was good, you're good company. She hugged him, tight, silent.
Take care, Ji Yang.
You too, Sudi. She turned away before he could see her eyes glisten. 7 years passed. The rain in Delhi had that kind of persistent melancholy that crept into your bones. Sudi stood near Gate C of the conference center, clutching her tote bag and a stack of handouts that were now soggy at the edges. Her Uber was 11 minutes away, stuck somewhere in Connaught Place traffic. People around her were rushing to shelter, laughing under umbrellas, checking phones, hugging colleagues goodbye. She felt alone. Her name had been listed on the panel of guest speakers. Drive. Sudi Mishra, climate migration researcher. The applause had been polite, the questions intelligent, the networking cordial. On paper, everything had gone well. So why did it feel like something essential was still missing? She sighed and turned slightly to shield herself from the wind. And then she heard it. That voice. A low, calm voice she hadn't heard in 7 years but knew instantly. Still humming that song, Sudi? Her heart dropped to her knees. She turned slowly. There he stood, holding a black camera bag slung across his shoulder, hair shorter, a hint of stubble on his jaw, but the same storm in his eyes, gaze that haunted her in dreams she never admitted to having. Ji-young. Time froze for a second. The city faded. Her words lodged in her throat.
How are you?
He smiled, a little sheepish, water trickling down his jacket collar. I saw your name on the conference lineup. I almost didn't come. I thought maybe it's better to keep some memories untouched. She blinked hard, laughing softly out of disbelief.
You always did show up when I least expected you.
I wanted to say hi, 7 years ago, but I left without a proper goodbye. He paused, and I've regretted it ever since. Her hands trembled slightly, but she steadied them.
Why did you disappear like that, Ji-young?
He looked at her like someone who'd been waiting years for this conversation. You remember our last day? I was leaving for Malaysia, you for Assam. I thought if I said more, if I confessed what I felt, maybe you'd pity me. Or worse, feel obliged.
You thought I didn't feel anything? I watched you walk away thinking I was the only one who fell.
I didn't know. You never said anything either. She lowered her gaze, biting the inside of her cheek to keep from breaking. I was scared. You were younger. You had dreams, and I didn't want to be the detour. The what if in your story, and instead, we became the unfinished chapter in each other's. The rain fell harder now. Still, neither of them moved. Sudi inhaled deeply.
I used to dream about bumping into you again. In some bookshop maybe, or at a train station. But every time I imagined it, I froze. Because I didn't know what I'd say.
Ji-young chuckled dryly. I would have said, I still have the recording of that song you hummed. That would have been my icebreaker. Her eyes shimmered. You still have it? I do. I played it last week. The silence stretched between them again, full but different now. No longer fearful, just heavy with everything unsaid. You know what hurts the most? She asked, voice barely audible. Not the time we lost, but the fact that we both felt it, and still let it go. Ji-young looked at her with something close to anguish. So what now? A cab honked behind her. She didn't turn. Now, she murmured, we say what we should have said years ago. I liked you, Sudi. I fell for you during that second camp, maybe even before I knew it was happening. And I liked you since Himachal, she whispered, voice breaking. You didn't even know I existed then. But I fell anyway. Rain danced on the pavement. People rushed past. But for them, the moment was sacred. Untouchable. He stepped closer, not touching her, just near enough to make her heart ache. I don't know where life will go from here, he said. But I don't want to wonder about you anymore. I don't want you to be a memory. Tears spilled silently down her cheeks. Then don't be. He reached for her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. They stood there under the gray sky, the city indifferent, the past forgiven, not because it didn't matter, but because they'd finally made it to now. I missed you, she whispered. I missed us, he replied. And just like that, the years folded into the space between their fingers. 7 years of silence reduced to 1 moment of truth. 3 years later, somewhere in Sikkim, a gentle breeze passed through the wooden windows of the homestay nestled against the forested slopes. Birds called from the trees. Light filtered in through green curtains, casting golden puddles on the hardwood floor. Sudi sat cross-legged at the desk, a worn field journal open before her, half a cup of ginger tea cooling by her side. Her glasses slid slightly down her nose as she scribbled down final notes from the morning trail survey. Behind her, she heard the familiar shutter click of a camera. Do you ever stop working? Came his voice. She smiled without turning. Do you ever stop clicking? Ji-young chuckled and crossed the room barefoot, crouching beside her. You looked perfect in this light. She turned to face him. You always say that, because it's always true. He leaned in, kissed her cheek, and rested his chin on her shoulder. They didn't live in a high-rise city apartment or lead glamorous lives. But this quiet life of travel, fieldwork, conservation, and community was exactly what they had both wanted. And now they had it. Together, they had dated quietly after the Delhi conference, no dramatic declarations, just coffee meetings, weekend trips, and long, healing conversations. It hadn't been perfect, There had been doubts, moments of fear, times when the years apart seemed like an abyss too wide to bridge. But they had chosen each other. Over time, over excuses, over fear, they lived modestly now, coordinating research and documentary projects between Sikkim, Assam, and Bhutan. She handled the scientific side. He captured the stories. You know, she murmured, sometimes I still think about how easily we could have missed each other forever. He didn't reply immediately. Then, we didn't miss each other. We just took the scenic route. She laughed softly, leaning into him. Outside, the hills rolled on, unchanged and eternal. But inside that small home, something had finally rooted itself. Something fragile once, now stronger than ever. Love. Not the kind sung in dramatic songs or written in breathless Instagram captions. But the kind built slowly, tenderly, across years of almosts and one final, beautiful yes. Final lines of Sudi's journal that day. Love didn't knock loudly. It arrived like rain through cracked windows, uninvited, soft, impossible to ignore. I didn't just fall for him once. I chose him again, after the silence, the waiting, the wondering. And this time, he chose me too.